Hello. This is the start of another vlog. Look at these kitties eating. This isn't technically the morning. Well, it's still the morning. It hasn't passed noon yet, but this is not their first meal of the day. This is second breakfast, as the hobbits would say. But what about second breakfast? So I decided for this week for a vlog, I was like, you know what? Especially right now, it's raining, it's miserable. I want to do a vampire vlog because, I've been getting into vampires. I have Eclipse to read anyways this month. I may be doing something related to Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines. Well, sorry, the Bloodlines is the game. I always get this mixed up. Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines is a video game. Vampire the Masquerade is the tabletop game. Regardless, I have this collection of short fiction from Vampire the Masquerade. I have this collection of novellas I got from the library. And then I have some. This is like a comic book, a graphic novel, vampire graphic novel. I heard it's good, but it's also written by Mark Millar, and Mark Millar can sometimes be really shitty. So I don't know. He's not the best human being. He's kind of sucks. So I kind of got this from the library without realizing that, but I'll give it a shot. It's like a quick little thing. And of course, I got to get to Billy Martin's Lost Souls, which is Kitty from Spicy Cats Reads book club pick today, this month. And also, funnily enough, is also in the second edition Vampire the Masquerade rulebook that I read last month. There was in the acknowledgement sections, it says one of the big inspiration for that system is actually this book, Lost Souls. So it is good on many fronts. It's a longer book. But yeah, I don't know. I'll try reading this physically. I might have to go audiobook for that. And then, of course, with Eclipse. So here's this. So the other ones I've read on audio when I reread them. So this one I'm actually going to try and reread a bunch of it physically. So there was this thing on YouTube where somebody was reading like Eclipse, but they stopped at chapter 17, and then another YouTuber took over to do the rest of their audiobook. And I like the rest of the audiobooks, like their narration better than the narration for the first 16 chapters. So I'm thinking I'm going to split this up where I'm going to read the first 16 chapters and then I'm going to listen to the YouTube audiobook for the rest of it. We will see. Maybe by the time I get to that far into the book, I'll just continue going through it physically. I'm not sure. It's been a while. So I think I'll try this one out. I do have some stuff I need to do starting off today. So I'm actually going to begin this vlog by listening to Carmilla, which is the very classic vampire tale. And then also I'm trying to try to fit in John Polidori's The Vampire as well, which is a novella that is a classic novella, one of the first vampire tales ever written as well. So gonna start with some classics while I do fun stuff like Diashes. We'll see how today goes. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. I doubt I'm going to get past any of these. I think this is probably, as far as physically goes, I don't think I'm going to get any farther than any of these books because of how they are. Lost Souls, I'm the one that I'm kind of want to get the audiobook for, but I'm also I really need to, I'm going to try to read it. We'll see. We'll see how my brain is treating me. So if my brain is treating me well, this one's a short story collection, so even if I don't get it all this month, or this week, it's fine. It's not a huge deal, so that's okay. And then novella collection, I'm not too worried about that. So we will see how today goes, and I will update you with any updates. Obviously, that's what an update is. Blah-blah. So first update for this vlog, I did just finish Carmilla, and I did also finish The Vampire by John Polidori. Carmilla is an interesting one because Carmilla is a book that I've heard about for a while, and mainly because of the lesbian overtures and the themes of a queer vampire, and the that particular, because it did become a trope, did begin in that book, and it's there. It's just it's very sedate and subtle because it's an old Victorian book, so it's not as in your face as as you might expect. Overall, I liked it. I thought it was good. I think I think the book is really short handed by its ending, because like the ending kind of just comes out of nowhere. And I feel like the point that like so the fact that this is a novella instead of a novel really hurts with that ending, because you get a ton of just people telling you, not showing. And you get introduced to all these characters that aren't really characters, they're more plot devices to figure out why and how and where to find the vampire. It all just really comes down to a last minute character that just shows up and explains everything. And I don't know, I thought that was kind of just disappointing, because up to then it was a pretty interesting tale, and there was a lot of weird elements to it, and you're trying to just like, getting into the mystery. You obviously know that Carmilla's a vampire. I wonder if going in you didn't know that, if the story would be a little bit different. I did find Carmilla an interesting character. I just think that the fact is that that story is just so short that I don't see me ever reading it or revisiting it again. It's extremely important to the modern perspectives and the modern interpretations of vampires as we know it, but it doesn't really have a lot of value due to its truncated nature and a lot of the elements that I would have been more interested in, because I do think that the queer elements are quite interesting, because Carmilla's relationship with this woman is unique and is compelling, and is like, you can really tell that it was actually like, it very much feels like a budding relationship and a way to try to express relationship that are taboo, and it's like this idea that Carmilla wants and knows that she's going to kill this person, but she wants them to love her and give over to her willingly. Maybe for her own conscience. It's really not that explained. You don't really get into the head of Carmilla. You don't even really get into the head of any of the people who are around our main character investigating it, because it's all from a very specific perspective. And I just think that kind of limits the piece, because she's not even there for the more esoteric discussions that happen with an occult detective. Like this one was called, like apparently this book is credited with having the first occult detective in literature. And like, it's like, yeah, I guess he was an occult detective, but like you don't hear him do any of the detecting. He does it in another room with a guy and you barely hear any of it. So you're like, well, I don't know. And like one of the reasons why I much prefer Dracula is because Dracula is a story, and you get a lot of the characters that feel a little bit more like they're characters instead of plot devices. And I just wonder if this had gone on a little bit longer, if there would have been a more satisfying ending to it with all of the added elements that would make it feel like more of a true story. Instead of a pretty interesting story that gets really truncated due to a singular perspective and things like that. I do find that, so comparing it to John Polidori's The Vampire, I do think it's very interesting that this is a vampire that's feeding off of other affluent people. I mean, you get a hint and you know that Carmilla is victimizing everyone, but the way that she is very particularly drawn in and obsessed with individual victims seems to be of an example of the higher class individuals are who she becomes kind of obsessed with. Whereas in John Polidori's The Vampire, it's all about a very predatory male who predates and more or less corrupts and destroys young women, poor people, and it's all about how the rich kind of take advantage of the poor and kind of use them as their playthings for their own amusements. And it especially, I really actually did quite enjoy John Polidori's The Vampire. It's like a shorter story. It doesn't do a lot of like crazy things in terms of like reinventing the wheel, because it can't reinvent a wheel. It legitimately is, in all respects, inventing the wheel. So you can't reinvent the wheel. It's the wheel itself. And you can see how, like, especially Dracula, there's a lot of Dracula, the character, in that short story. But I really did like it because, one, it doesn't have a fun ending. It has a sad ending, and I just think that's better for short horror stories in general. I think horror stories really lend themselves well to having very depressing endings. That's just a personal preference, I guess. I actually found our main character really interesting because he is obsessed with the ideas of people and not the realities of them. And he becomes obsessed with this Lord Ruthven and following him around, and he learns that, oh, the idea of him is not even remotely close to being as romantic as the reality. He is a terrible, horrible man, and he might be more than a man. Ooh. And like Lord Ruthven, like is like a male predator. Like he goes into all of these young women, and before they are ready to do a lot of the things that he forces them to do. You don't get any images of that. You don't get any perspectives of that. But yes, he's clearly having like sex and relations with these women, and using his power over them to ruin their views of society and their standing. And he does it to not only women and poor people, but a large swath of like endangered populations. And it's funny because our main character doesn't really learn his lesson. And that's kind of the reason why the horrible things happen. But he kind of like falls in love with a woman who he is also very much not understanding is a person, and is still more infatuated by the idea of her versus the reality of her. And he doesn't really learn his lessons, and that eventually tragedy strikes. And yeah, no, I thought it was really interesting, and I thought it was like a more complete short story that had all the elements that I like, with some strong characters and strong characterization to kind of reflect the vampire nature. Whereas I found elements of Carmilla really interesting and intriguing, and it is undeniably an extremely important piece of media. I just didn't find the overall story as compelling because I felt like there was a lot of just plot devices thrown in at the end. So on to what I'm going to do next. I'm probably going to watch some YouTube and then probably dive into something physically. Toodaloo. Just finished Nightclub by Mark Millar, and it was really bad. Don't read it. It was very cliched. The writing was horrible, and I'm pretty sure Mark Millar has not talked to a teenager in a very long time, which is good because he's Mark Millar and he shouldn't be talking to teenagers, but he probably also shouldn't be trying to write them either. It's the most cliched vampire tale you've ever heard. And it's bad. And it's bad. It's very bad. Not even Loomis likes it. And he's a cat. And he has no concepts of quality entertainment. Dr. Van Dyce told me watching some silent madness with vitamin R, to quote my good friend Charlie Swan. Silent Madness was very bad. I don't even think I finished it. I think we're at like they killed the person. They were literally in their like last scene of the movie, and I was like, you know what? I'm good. This movie's bad. I'm good. So yeah, this is my first update of the day, even though it's pretty late in the day, but that's fine. So what I've been doing is I have started and got most of the way. I've got a good chunk into Ray Garton's Live Girls, and I'm actually like surprisingly loving it. Like it is obviously a very sleazy movie. But like I'm kind of loving it. I'm kind of having an absolutely great time with it. I kind of find it like really interesting, and hopefully it sustains that. I'm only a little bit in that. I have about 5 hours left on the audiobook. I listen at 1.4 speed, just in case you're wondering. So I'm into it a good chunk, but I'm not done it yet. So that's just a little update on that. And then I think I'm going to be working a little bit more now on. Yeah, sorry if you can just hear like random freaking hammerings and stuff. I'm going to be working a little bit more on the finishing the first novella for this collection, Walk Among Us, and I've really been enjoying this first collection, this first novella as well. Like, I have about 60 pages left in it, so like maybe it can go downhill, but like so far it's like a really interesting examination of a character who's like in college with like anxiety, and she falls in with this club that is devoted to collecting people who feel invisible in society. And it seems like they might be collecting people that way, not for a support group, but for a feasting group, because they vampires, bitch. Not 100% sure. There might be a little bit more to it than that, but so far it really does a great job at examining anxiety and examining friendships. And yeah, no, I am really quite enjoying it so far. So I think I will at least finish the first thing in this. Toodaloo. Welcome to Jurassic Park. This is my favorite one. I don't know why. I like this one the best. Hello, it is currently Wednesday, and this is the kitty cat named Nami. And she's not into it. She did not consent to this, I guess. Oh no, she's good. Okay. Just keep looking. All right. I'll find someone else. Anyways, so I'm about to go on Patreon sprints with Kitty and Kelsey. But I just want to do a quick update before then. I have been walking around listening to audiobooks, and I did finish all of Ray Garton's Live Girls, and I love that book. That book is really good. It's like it's interesting because like it was written in '87, and it's definitely a sleazier book. But the thing is, like, it's sleazier, but it is also a little bit more progressive because like it's all about like the sex industry and old and like the old versions of Times Square, and it seems to understand like what was the problems with those industries, which is not the women who were working in them. It was the men and the people up top who were like kind of like controlling them in a very toxic, bad way. So it doesn't come off where it's like, a morality play about like the dangers of sex work or anything like that. Now, there is obviously dangerous sex work, and that's why it should be like legalized, so that there is not those that stigma and that danger. But I just mean it doesn't appear to be an overly preachy book in that regard. And I was kind of impressed because so it's like about this guy who's this loser. His girlfriend breaks up with him, and he goes off to this this smut show in Times Square, and he gets infected with some vampirism. And what I thought that was really good about this, and I was kind of impressed with Ray Garton's writing overall, is that like his girlfriend is not painted overly well, like by the man who she like is broken up with, and people don't talk about her very well. But she eventually comes back into the story, and Ray Garton writes her very realistically and writes her likably, and like showcases like how she's kind of got stuck in this cycle of violence and abuse. And like I feel like in a lesser book they would have just used that character to demonize further and like not showcase any of her humanity. So I was really happy that like even a character like that is treated humanely, and it is written quite well. And I really like the female lead in this as well. this was a dark book and a pretty depressing book. I mean, not too many people have a happy ending. Obviously, because it's from 1987, there is a little bit of dated language, but not as much as you'd think. And it seems like the dated language are like more in regards to like the crappy people who have that beliefs and like because sometimes especially something like homophobia sometimes like can really ruin like a classic book because it seeps in to become part of the literal narration of the story, which makes like when homophobia is entrenched in the omniscient narration of a book, then there's like really no separation between a bad character and just these are things that the writer believes, and that does not happen here. And it makes it so like that the very few times, like I think it was maybe once or twice there was like language that like definitely would not swing today. And it just it comes out of characters who are not the best, so like it makes sense. And yeah, no, I just thought it was a really good vampire tale, a very sexy vampire tale if you're into the smuttier side of vampirism. It's effective, I will just say that it's very effective. There's wild smutty scenes, and yeah, I just kind of like the story overall, and the ending gets wild and kind of unhinged because there's like all these disparate elements at play, and yeah, it was pretty damn effective. I really really liked it. This is the first ever Ray Garten book I've ever read, I believe, so I'll definitely be reading more of that. And then I also finished the first short novella in Walk Among Us, which is the Vampire Masquerade trilogy. And I really like that first novella as well because it has this like really good sense of exploring depression and exploring anxiety and like really getting into the nitty gritty about how somebody who has a deeply anxious mind would think and act, and I thought that was really really well done. It does go into the very end, has like a trope that I really dislike, so like that kind of hurt my overall opinion, but I still liked the book overall. So, and I still like the novella overall, and I'm excited to get to the next one because the next one is done by Cassandra Carr. This novella is just like kind of like a disaffected college kid goes to a support group that is a little bit more than it seems, and she falls deeper and deeper into the world of Vampire the Masquerade, and does more crazy things. Yeah, you thought I was getting through this without the Willow voice? Well, too bad. Okay, I better go. I gotta get to these sprints. Bye-bye. Currently on sprints with Kitty. Kelsey had to go as she was having a headache, but she was there for a little bit. Now it is just me and Kitty. And here is a Kitty helping to be a display for this comic. This is the first arc of like in comic books, if there's like 1 to 6, like the first 5 issues or the first 6 issues of a series, I usually call it an arc. This is not an advanced reading copy. I got it from the library. Anyways, this is the first look batch of issues for a Blade comic book. And I have not actually read that many Blade comic books. And yeah, I definitely need to because this was a blast. This was really, really fun. This is got really cool artwork. And like the idea is basically like it starts out with Blade being hired to look after this girl, and it turns out she's not who she appears to be, and he is then set on this big kind of a quest to fight off this big bad, and it turns out that he is kind of responsible for unleashing this demon on the earth in their full power. Because he was kind of deceived as to what he was doing. And it just got really cool artwork. It's got fun characters, and there's a lot of really cool, like, vampire action. And yeah, no, Doctor Strange is in it, and Doctor Strange and Blade are, like, throwing barbs at each other, and it's just kind of cool. So I really like this and had a good time with it. I need to read more Blade comics. I think this is the newest Blade comic. they like referenced a whole bunch of like random Blade stuff that happens. Like apparently at one point he was like the sheriff of a vampire town, and I'm like, when did that happen? Blade also has a daughter with which I knew, but like I didn't know much about her, and she's only kind of referenced in here. Mostly it's just kind of Blade on his own until he gets together with like a two ladies who are helping him out, but yeah, his daughter is not in this, but yeah, no, I thought this was really cool, and I had a good time with it. So yeah, this was a winner, winner, chicken dinner. So what I will be reading for the rest of the night, when I get a chance, I'm going to be starting the short story collection of Vampire the Masquerade Tales, because my plan is to tomorrow I'm going to finish the series of the series of novellas, that novella collection for Vampire the Masquerade that I have, and then I'm gonna probably start Eclipse as well. So I have like I want to finish that arc. I want to finish I want to start and finish Drawing Blood by Billy Martin. Sorry, not Drawing Blood is a different one, which is just funny. Lost Souls is the book that I'm talking about. I guess I was just thinking about vampires and blood. But yeah, Lost Souls by Billy Martin, the vampire book. And then I want to finish Eclipse and this arc. So I have kind of 4 books that I would like to finish. I have audio for the novella collection and Lost Souls. So then I just kind of physically have this and then the first half of Eclipse, because then the audiobook that's on YouTube starts with a narrator that I like. So, anyways, we'll see. This is the one that I might not finish, but that's going to be okay. Like, it's okay if I just get, like, if I only get like a few short stories into this one, because I think that this is not going to be my priority, and it's okay if I'm reading a few more short stories coming up, because I'm trying to just get into the Vampire the Masquerade world and style for a storytelling that I want to do. So anyways, so I'm going to be doing that. Any other sprints or whatever today, I don't know if there'll be many, but I do love this cover. It's all embossed, and it's like the blood is embossed, and it's like so yeah, that's today. Toodaloo. Good afternoon. It's about 1 here. I spent the first little batch of today watching the first 3 episodes of the latest season of The Boys on Amazon Prime. That's a show that I like because I'm kind of like invested in certain characters, but I also kind of understand that like the point of it is like a little muddled, because like it's trying to parody like things like alt-right ideas and ideologues, but like you can't really parody those things because they're not, because it's like not a logical belief set. It's like an emotional belief set. So like it's really hard to do like a parody of those things that doesn't just kind of become a talking point for why they think the thing is cool, because that's definitely kind of happened with The Boys, where like Homelander is supposed to be like a parody of like the superheroic, you know, alt-right man baby, but you know, he's been adopted by a lot of the people on the right, because that's kind of how those things go. So I'm really more interested in it from like some certain character perspective, because I find like Huey interesting and that kind of thing. But I enjoy it, but I also kind of understand that it's like a little bit of a echo chamber in terms of just being like, wow, isn't it frustrating? And also, I also understand that it's like a little bit of a shallow commentary when it's all about like how companies like ruin the world, but it's made by Amazon Prime, the biggest company in the world, who is 100% ruining the world. So like I understand that it's like I just find it funny and entertaining, but I also understand that it's you know, it's a bit of an echo chamber. So but I did get my package from the sale, the halfway to Black Friday sale that happens every year around this time on like Vinegar Syndrome. I used to get so many huge packages. I just don't have the money. So I only actually ended up buying 3 movies this year. And then I also ordered a... oh yeah, there's my stickers. I got like a 3-pack of stickers. I did not realize that sticker was so huge. I thought that was a smaller sticker. But that's, so yeah, so it's a cool like little Vinegar Syndrome ones. But I got some stuff that was in low stock that I'm definitely going to be showcasing to my patrons, because I basically had a whole bunch of trailers that we all watched to figure out what movies would be the most interesting. So this is like this weird, odd little animated movie. I've never heard about it before, but it looks really cool. It has like beautiful animation and just looks very odd. Frostbiter Wrath of the Wendigo is one that I've been meaning to get forever. This like, seems like a right up my alley, like a very wild and bonkers and wild, silly creature feature. And then the one that I'm kind of the most excited for, but also the one that I know is not going to be everyone's cup of tea. This is genuinely, I believe it's like 6 hours. Yeah, it's long. It's like a 6 hour compilation of a whole bunch of old school drive-in pre-show ads and like pre-show events and things like that. So like it's like so only for me kind of thing. Like it's a very much of a a wacky weird collection, and of course it's like from AGFO, which is the American Film Genre Film Archive, and something weird. So this is the one I was most excited to get, and this is the one that was most expensive because it was like low stock. So I was like, so yeah. So I only ended up getting 3 movies this year, but this one I'm most looking forward to. What I'll probably do with this is I'm definitely not gonna watch like the 6 hours altogether, but I might put it on as like see how it works for like ambiance to see if like it might be like fun reading ambiance for like reading like trashier books like that. But anyways, this is my collection of things. So I'm going to be listening to the audiobook for Among Us, which I'm really excited for that. And amazingly, I don't have to do all my finagling I was going to do with my audiobook because my library, the audiobook for Eclipse came in last night. So I don't have to read 17 chapters of it and then listen to half of it. So I'm just going to listen to it as it is. So I have a lot of audiobooks in the future. So I better get to it. Toodaloo. You little kitten. Oh, yeah, he's getting his tail. Good morning, it's a Friday. It's just more like Friday. Wow. Ow, ow, my arm, my fingies. Ow, ow, ow. Can I have my fingies back? Ow, ow. Anyways, last night I finished Walk Among Us, the 3 Vampire the Masquerade short stories. And, so novellas. So, I finished that. I really liked it. The other 2 novellas were really interesting as well. One was about someone trying to get out of their deal they made with a vampire and, didn't work out well for him. And then the other was like all about these vampires that basically ran a human farm, and it was really interesting and wild. And I really liked it. And then last night, I only just started Lost Souls by Billy Martin, and I'm really liking that so far, but I've only just started. So basically what's going to happen is I'm going to try to get through most of Lost Souls today, maybe all. Then I'm going to listen to the audiobook for Eclipse, and then hopefully I'll be able to finish that Saturday and then upload this vlog on Sunday. And I think I'm just going to put this one away and do this either in July or August. But yeah, I'm going to put this short story collection away just because I didn't get to it this time. But the others, I will get to. So now it's time to get to the listening. So, I just finished Lost Souls. Oh my goodness, that book was, oh my. So, the other Billy Martin books I've read, both Exquisite Corpse and Drawing Blood, were both 5 stars for me. I really, really like them. And I don't think I liked this one. I don't think I liked this one at all by the end. So there's a few things that are wrong with this book. For one, oh my dribbles. There was so much incest in this book. This book is like incest apocalypse, man. There's incest everywhere. And like 90% of the book feels like it's underage incest. And I'm like, that is some of the stuff that I do not want to read ever. Do not want to read that at all. Did not enjoy that. It was real effed up. and you're like, damn, that's a kid just being predated on. Anyways, that's horrible. And like at first, I thought that the point of the book was that these are like horrible evil predators, and like they kind of is, like it's kind of one of the points of the book, but like the very end epilogue of the book doesn't really showcase that certain other characters who were participating in this predation had any comeuppance at all. The women in this book are so shorthanded. Like they are given some horrible scenes, and like then they have to like their ending is just horrible. It's like so. It's just some of the most awful things, and I'm like, why? And like, there's like one character who Ghost who I liked. I thought he was an interesting character, had interesting perspectives, but his best friend, who we spend the majority of the book with, Steven, is a horrible person. And like I cannot tell where this book is trying to like end off with that character, because he is awful. Like he is a, you find out very early in the book, this is not a spoiler, he is a rapist, and like, and it's like, whoa. And like you spend a lot of time with this character, and it's just like, do you want us to like be okay with this character? Every character that takes vengeance upon some evil vampires are also very evil, awful people. Now, which I would almost guess might be the point. Like, the point is probably that there is no heroes in this story, and that it's all going to be kind of like an effed up mess. I just don't know if I felt like all of those elements were done responsibly. Like, I cannot figure out where I land upon whether or not it romanticizes some very, very, very bad things. And I know that this would be like Billy Martin's, I believe this is Billy Martin's first book. So maybe I just am more into the books after this, because I feel like maybe there's a little bit more clarity there, and a little bit more of all of the characters are above a certain age, and like it doesn't seem like things are being as romanticized, more as uh, presented to you in a very flowery, beautiful writing style, but the actions themselves are not romanticized. Whereas this book, I'm really like, what you doing here? And like even when they try to make the most likable, quote unquote, likable vampire, he is also doing the horrible predation stuff. And it's just like, ugh, literally. And like, I don't mind not likable characters, but like, I like to have like an understanding from the piece that it understands the depths of the horrificness of the characters. And like maybe it does, maybe I've just kind of not read it in the way that it was intended, but I find it was a little bit iffy in that section, and I did not enjoy that, so I'm gonna give that book a 2 stars. For me, I'm interested to see, because I know it is Kitty from Spicy Cat's book club pick for this month, and I'm interested to see what everyone else thinks, because maybe my opinions will change after I read other people's interpretations and reads on this book. But I did not enjoy it. Oh my goodness, that was a lot of going very fast. So I'm gonna instantly start on Eclipse right now, immediately. Well, I think I'm gonna go and update my Goodreads and Storygraphs, but then immediately I'm gonna try to go into Eclipse, because I know everything about Eclipse. I've read that book before. I know it's just I can just go, and I do not have to dwell upon this book. It's still better than that Mark Millar comic book, though, that I read earlier. That one was really bad. This one at least had interesting elements. I just don't like how they was implemented, and I don't like the story. I don't think, and I don't like where it kind of ends up with certain characters. But anyways, on to Eclipse. Oh God, a palate cleanser, please. Hello, I just got back from the Pride Parade. That was today. I did not know that or remember, but I was like walking around yesterday and I was like, oh, there's a bunch of floats just hanging out. What is that for again? And like, oh, Pride is, oh my goodness, of course Pride is coming up. So I went over to the Pride Parade after after I paused my, listening of the audiobook for Eclipse, which I'm about, I think, 5 hours in, and I'm loving it. I'm definitely going to have to cram the rest of that today. But yeah, I got some cool stuff. Got this nice little flag. Look, Kitten says gay rights. Yeah, look at that pride cat. There you go. You just got adopted. That's good. There's some like weird ones. Like I don't even know what this is. Cooperators. I think this is as an insurance thing, and I'm like, I'm not gonna get insurance. I did get 2 bookmarks though. That was a cool one. I always love bookmarks, so I can't wait to have these ones. This is from the University of Regina, and this one is from the library, Regina Public Library. So that's cool. I got this. It's a little one of these. I remember I used to get these in like school all the time. I haven't seen one of those in a while, so that's cool. Got a bunch of stickers. Oh, ow, and my fingies. This one's awesome. I got a pen. I love pens. And it doesn't say exactly, but this is from one of the... Ah, yes, okay. So this is from one of the tribes here. The First Nation. One of the First Nations peoples. They had a thing going on. And this is great. The library actually had some like recommendations for trans books. Queer and trans books. So that's cool. So yeah, I guess I'm just going to go back to listening to Eclipse now. But that was a lot of fun. Unfortunately, the cops are there. They were playing bagpipes, and you're like, guys, we see the logos on the bagpipes. You ain't fooling me. Get out of here. And they stopped for so long. Anyways, that's fine. I mean, it's not fine, but nothing I can do about it now. Oh God, Girl Guides? Is this I'm not putting on a Girl Guides temporary tattoo. And this is a bar that I sometimes go to, so that's good. Leopold's Tavern, there you go. Anyways, I will talk to you guys in a bit. Also, like a temporary tattoo for the place that gives me internet, and it's not even like Pride themed. Why did I say yes to this? Anyways, toodaloo. So, I just finished Eclipse, and as such, I have finished the vlog. It is 8 p.m. on a Saturday, so I'm going to edit this and try to get it out before it becomes Sunday, so I can have a video out this week. I love Eclipse. All of those books are so much fun to read. They're very campy, but like there's some stuff that Stephanie Meyer does legitimately pretty well, and I actually really like her dialogue, and I like the way that characters like interact, and I like a lot of her characterization. Of all of them, though, I think like Eclipse is probably my least favorite, but that's not saying like a lot. I still had like a great time with it. It's just Jacob is such a dick throughout all of Eclipse. Like, he is the worst. Like, he's so unlikably asshole-ish that, like, you're like, how does anyone ever like Jacob? Because he's such a jerk. And, like, in New Moon, he's, like, an interesting character. And in Eclipse, he's just an asshole the entire time. I will say it's interesting. I feel like Eclipse is one of the few like full-on battle sequences we do get in Stephanie Meyer's work. Because like I feel like Stephanie Meyer is like, battles happen off screen. Don't worry about the battles. They happen, but we ain't gonna see them. Or like it's gonna be from the perspective of a character who's like barely conscious and like only sees them out of the side of her eye. But like this one, you get like a full-on, werewolf vampire-esque vampire fight, and you get like pretty good details of it all. Like you kind of get the idea that like they're going so fast you can't see it with your human eyes, bro. But like it's done pretty well. Like it's actually a pretty effective combat sequence. So I was like, oh, that's awesome. Yeah, I had a great time with this. I will say also, like, I think some of the most problematic elements of Twilight kind of come out in Eclipse. Mainly, it's like, it's treatment of indigenous folks, and like when it's like trying to like outline legends and like histories. Obviously, this is a white lady just kind of making stuff up. And it's like, yeah, no, that's not good. But when she's not trying to do that element, which yes is offensive, it's not good. It doesn't hold up very well. I don't think that like Jacob and the other people of color are written particularly poorly. Like, I don't think they're written poorly, other than when she's getting into religious practices and religious stories that she really should not be telling. Yeah, I had a good time with this. I mean, like, again, it's Twilight. It's very like if you can get into the character drama, you can have fun. And yeah, no, I had fun. I had fun. Eclipse was fun. I'm really excited to get to Breaking Dawn. So like back in the day, I borrowed Twilight, New Moon, and Eclipse from somebody I went to high school with. I read them all, and then I had the excuse to like return the books to her later on in the summer because like I had a crush on this girl. I was like, haha, what have you done with the Twilight books? Meh. So then I returned them, and then she ends up dating my friend who joined me on the bike journey to return the books. He had not read the books. But anyway, so I guess I was the accidentally was a love matcher, even though that relationship did not go well, but whatevs. But I just thought that was funny. So Breaking Dawn was the one that I bought of my own volition, like was the only one of the Twilight series that I owned and bought like the day it came out because I was really excited. And it was like after like all of these things with like the reason why I read them was like far in the past because these two were dating, and it was like so it was just like, oh, I'm invested in this book series. So I'm excited to read Breaking Dawn, because like Breaking Dawn I feel like has what I like to call the most unhinged ending of all time. And it really, the hinges are fully gone by Breaking Dawn. So I'm really excited to get there. And also deeply in fear because some of the choices, especially with Jacob, if you think Jacob was not very likable in Eclipse, oh, the Breaking Dawn choices they make with Jacob are quite bad. Get in their bed. But yes, this is a pretty effective vampire reading vlog. I had a great time with it. So yeah. Next week I think I'm just gonna do a chill vlog where I just read whatevs. So goodbye. Me 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 me. Lou also says goodbye.